And I mean, when it comes down to it, I get to cook delicious food and share that recipe with other people. I don't think you can get anything better.
And that's the value you're providing.
It really is. It's amazing, and I love doing it.
This is the Meat America Podcast, presented by Code 3 Spices, produced by Red Meat Lover. And now your host, Joey and Mike.
Welcome back to the Meat America Podcast, presented by Code 3 Spices and sponsored by Grill Great at grillgreat.com, Rockwood Charcoal at rockwoodcharcoal.com, and found in retailers across the country, as well as Ardent Spirits. I'm Joey, aka the Chief Beef Officer for redmeatlover.com and Red Meat Lover YouTube channel. I want to introduce my co-host, Mike Radosevich, co-owner of Code 3 Spices.
How are we doing today, guys? Joe, this is round 2 for the day. We just wrapped up a really good one with Malcom and my business partner, Chris. I'm really excited about this one because this is sort of the meat and potatoes of what me and you talked about in the early stages of what Meat America is going to be about. It's going to be about the stories of people that are doing uncommon things, that are just humble people. And we have probably the most humble man and woman in the barbecue game right now, and it's Malcom and Rachelle Reed.
Absolutely, and you know, Malcom is a YouTube OG, truly one of the pioneers in the space. And really what I want to kind of set the tone for our conversation today is just visualize we're on a boat, a big yacht. We all have a great drink in our hand. We have the wind blowing through our hair. Well, some of us have the wind blowing through our hair. Some of us don't have any hair. And we're looking out off the back of this yacht, and we're seeing the waves that have been made by the yacht. And in a metaphorical sense, those are your accomplishments. One of the things I want to do today for our audience is, really lift up the lid on the engine. It's that engine that made those waves. It's that engine that powers the boat forward. So I really want to get into your story, your success, your failures, where you've had them, and just kind of share that story with our audience. I think the success of any business can provide a ton of inspiration for those who are at home trying to make it happen for themselves as well.
Thanks for having us. We're glad to be here talking to you guys. And Shell and I started this journey. God, how long has it been?
It's before we were married.
Yeah, I would say 04, 05 is when I met her. I'd already been doing competition barbecue for a couple years, and Rachelle was working for an internet marketing company pretty much, and that's kind of her background. She was a PR major in college, and when she met me, we were doing the competition barbecue, and I think the first time we met, you told me your dad had a barbecue grill, so we was needing a bigger grill to cook for some food on at Springfest, which is our local contest. And so I knew, she said, if I could borrow her daddy's grill, I was in, So we kind of hit it off, and she, back then we talked about another podcast, but we liked to party a lot too. Barbecue wasn't serious, but it was when Rachelle come around, and she always says that she would see the way that I would be talking to my buddies or would be on the phone and talking about barbecue, and she thought that...
I was like, this is what you should be doing.
Yeah.
I was like, you are perfect for this, even back then,
Yeah.
And the first barbecue competition I went to was your barbecue competition, and I just looked around and I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is a gold mine. Nobody's tapped into it.
Yeah.
Because it was so much fun, and like y'all say, camaraderie and
communal, and everybody's having a good time, and you're feeding people, and it's just a lot of fun.
I was like, let's make a business out of this.
And so she said, you need a website. And at the time, I think we had a MySpace page. That was our first thing.
Wow,
So we took it way back, and we had a Killer Hogs MySpace page. And
Tom was your first friend.
Tom was our first friend, first follower, I guess, and you could say. And all we used it for was party pics, man. Yeah. We'd put funny stuff on there that we were doing out at these events. And Shell said, we got to have a website. So I think we bought killerhogs.com. And so we started just putting stuff on there. It was mainly stories about us and our pictures of our trophies that we were winning, because we started doing really well in the competition world. And I don't know where the newsletter, if you were doing newsletters, or newsletters were hot. It was like when everybody said get newsletters were a new thing. Yeah, you got to be able to email us. So we weren't selling products. We weren't doing any of that stuff. But she said, you're going to write a newsletter. And I said, who's going to read a newsletter that I write? I said, what am I going to write about? She said, just write about barbecue, whatever you want. Pick a topic. You want to write about butt, how to cook a butt, do it. Because, we weren't like into recipe creation and all that stuff. And so I started doing it, and then before you know it, a couple hundred people signed up and was reading this newsletter. And I said, wow, 200 people have read this email from who would have thought? And then it just built and built and built. And then about that time, that was, I don't know, that was probably, Michael wasn't born. He was born in 09, so it was probably 06, 07. Yeah. We decided to do, YouTube came out. Nobody really knew what YouTube was. And Rachelle, you were working with people in that field that could see stuff like this coming, and she had the knowledge and the forethought to say this is where you need to be, kind of.
Yeah, we knew we wanted to create some videos, and then we didn't have any place to host the videos, so we started putting them on YouTube.
Yeah, there was free hosting. And that was it, because we were doing some work with a sponsor that wanted us to film some, what it's like out of the contest, not necessarily demonstration stuff. They were just wanting to capture the essence of being at a contest. And we said, sure, we can do that. We got a camera. You didn't have cell phone cameras that did all the video and stuff then, but they sent us these little flip cams. It was called a Handy Flip Cam or Sony Flip Cam or something like that. Onboard little, memory stick in it, and you'd go around and record stuff. And it was like, great, we got all this footage, how are we gonna get it to you? You can't email it. Way too big of files. And YouTube, that's where you kind of said, well, we can create our YouTube channel and upload it to YouTube, and that's how it all started.
Yeah, and then shortly after that, we started doing recipes.
Yeah, the How to Barbecue Right came in there when we did the newsletter.
Yeah.
She was like, what do you want to call this? And I said, I don't know, How to Barbecue Right. It was just like off the top of her head. She's like, I kind of like it. I mean, that's like, well, people are going to kind of look for how-to something, I guess. And she's like, that's really not a bad idea. Yeah. And so we just you stuck with it and bought howtobarbecueright.com.
I wish we would have gone with a different name.
But it works. I mean, a lot of times when people look up how to cook ribs, how to cook pork butter, whatever, they find our site because of all the, back from the newsletters and recipes and putting that on there, that all just builds up and it builds this web online that draws people back to us. And that was kind of her brainchild of how to make all the parts come back and work. And then it led to retail sales because we come out with our rubs and we'd already had an audience that was used to reading the newsletter, used to seeing some early video stuff, and then when I started using some of the products and videos, people started buying it, and it kind of just blew up from there. We never set out with the idea we're going to sell rubs and sauces. That was not our goal. Our goal was to help people, just spread the word and help people cook better barbecue. Just offering what we've learned, because I don't even claim to be a professional. I just enjoy sharing what I'm learning in my journey, kind of like you guys are doing. So that's kind of our take, or my take on it. And
we had no clue we had no plans to be a YouTube star. You know?
There was no business plan. There was no model. Nobody else was doing it.
I mean, I personally think that those are the best stories.
Yeah.
The ones that me and Chris didn't have any idea what we were doing. Yep. Here we are 8 years later doing okay. I think what it comes down to is just the conviction of what your passion is and moving forward with it. And I mean, obviously, it seems like you two are a match made in heaven from the get-go.
Well, we both love cooking and come from families that, cooking is the center, a big part of our family. I mean, grandmothers cook, mothers cook, and everybody comes to the house, they're hanging out in the kitchen. It's all about that where we live in Mississippi. And so we both had that love of it, and I had the barbecue side, and she kind of had the business side. And so it kind of worked, and we learned.
Very yin and yang.
Yeah, we're the opposites. Where I would fall short, Rachelle would have the skills necessary, and then we're talking to people and things like that. She don't like doing. I come in and I'm kind of a people person. So I don't mind talking about brisket all day long. Doing podcasts and stuff like that. That's fun to me. It's not like work. It's not like work.
Right. Well, it's crazy. Like Chris and I are in the thick of it right now, and we love every second of it.
Yeah. Oh,
we love it. Throw it at us. Let's see what we can do with it.
I want to go back in time to that first YouTube upload. So was that on How to Barbecue Right, or was that on?
Yeah. It might have been on Killer Hogs.
Might have been. Yeah, there was a Killer Hogs channel.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't even know if it exists anymore.
Well,
did you find something?
I want to take you back in time here. I didn't find anything on Killer Hogs, but barbecue chicken competition style.
Oh, yeah.
That was your first upload.
That may be the one where I'm actually the cameraman and talking while I'm filming. My brother actually trimmed chicken and stuff, right? Or was it me?
Yeah, it was you.
There were some early ones where it was rough.
And I didn't know how to edit, so it was like we would film one part, and that would be, a video.
Yeah.
And then we'd film the second part, and that would be a video.
There was no editing. We didn't have edit software. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have a camera training. We didn't have mics. The audio was horrible. There was no lights. We were just in a yellow kitchen. I mean, it was just yeah.
And that's why I referred to you at the intro as a YouTube OG, because a lot of people, YouTube is just part of our world now, the one that we live in. But a lot of people really, and I don't have the exact date, a lot of people forget YouTube's really relatively new, coming up in I think 06. For a large portion of the time it was used to host family videos, and then has really morphed into what it is today, which is more and more like becoming more and more like a network.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It's its own. It's the direct TV of the web kind of. People go there for their entertainment. I mean, programming.
And how to.
And how, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, it's a necessity. When you've got grade schools helping teach our kids.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's really incredible if you think about it. And like you said, it hasn't been around long.
Hey, I've got a buddy that's a professor at the University of Mississippi, and they, when they had to do the social distancing, they taught all summer classes and used YouTube. The professors would upload their lessons on, and they would send them out to their kids or whatever. I guess they were like private, where nobody can get to them some kind of way. But
our son doesn't watch TV. He watches YouTube.
That's the big thing. The younger generations, they don't even watch TV like we used to. They're all on YouTube. So it was, you're going to look up something, you're going to go Google it. Now people go to YouTube when they want to know something. Right. If you want to learn how to change a flat, if you want to learn why you're
to barbecue.
Yeah, or how to barbecue. Right. That's what it's turned into. It's a resource and entertainment.
Yeah.
Second largest search engine in the world, as I understand it. So if you're not finding your answer on Google, you're going, as you mentioned, right over to YouTube.
Yep.
And we really just fell backwards into that. It was pure luck.
It could have easily been, what was the other one?
Vimeo.
How long did it take for the wheels to start rolling?
A long time.
We had to learn everything. We had to learn how to get products co-packed, that whole process. We had to learn distribution. We had to learn editing. We had to learn every aspect of it. We learned the hard way because we had no money to
we didn't. So
hire anybody
one
here.
reason why we started doing the videos is we didn't have any advertising money. We had zero marketing budget. I mean, our videos that we made, our newsletters that we put out, and the blog posts we write, that was our sweat equity that we were using for marketing. And so that's kind of what caused us to kind of cut our teeth or to get our chops from doing that, because we didn't have the money to fast track it any kind of way. We put the work in on our end, and it was frustrating. There was some lean times, when we were going. We was like, you'd buy some rub and you had to sell it to keep the lights and stuff on. And it wasn't till, I don't know, it started rolling. Once you hit about 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, things start, you kind of got this synergy going. And then the climb there is crazy.
Yeah.
I think we've managed about 250,000 every year since we hit 100. And so it's like you could see the first year and you hit that milestone of 100. Next year you're at 250,000, 500,000, 750, and then now you're hitting 1 million. So that's kind of how it grew for us.
Yeah, and you guys kind of talked about it, and it's something Mike and I have talked about privately, is that being successful in business, any endeavor, kind of takes a constant willingness to step outside of your comfort zones. One of those areas for me, redmeatlover.com, and you mentioned something. I wish we would have chose a different name. Matter of fact, when I called my CPA, I told him, I said, I got the dumbest idea you've ever heard of. And he said, I'm sure it's not the dumbest idea. Come on in. And here we are, a few years later. But one of the challenges I had as a person was, being on camera the first time. I felt really uncomfortable with it. And, it's interesting when I go back and I watch I look at the initial ratios of my first video. It's a very technically accurate presentation, but it also has some of the lowest like ratios at like 80%. And when I looked at that, I began to realize that while the message I was trying to deliver was authentic, there was no authentic me there. It was me trying to be too polished, and I've learned to kind of work with that. And so, Malcom, this is for you. What was kind of the bigger hurdle you had to overcome, if at all, on publishing that first vid and being the man in front?
I had nothing to compare it to because I'd never done anything like that. I didn't know to be, scared or whatever. I just was, did it. There was no right or wrong way. I just knew that I had to get it done. And I think I've developed over time to be more comfortable on camera and talking. But I remember, being not knowing what we're doing, the main thing.
Yeah,
and just,
I don't get it. Rachelle, I'm like, just do it.
And
Just
she would
do
tell
it.
me, she would direct me on how to do something this way, and I'd be like, okay, well, I'll just follow the directions because we didn't know if it was right or wrong. I mean, really, true. And no training, no camera training whatsoever. And so you got to get out of your comfort box, because when you're sitting there in front of a camera like we are, it can be a little, frustrating to you or whatever. You don't know how you're going to act. And I said, well, I'm just going to start being me.
Well,
Whatever I do, I'm just going to be me, and whether people like it or not, this is what it's going to be.
that's the thing, but let's compare that to competition barbecue, doing your first contest. You don't know what the hell you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
So everything is muscle memory.
Right,
everything
right.
is repetition, just like anything else. So that makes complete total sense.
Sure.
And I
And you
think-
do get better as you go.
Yeah, I think you also develop your own style, and you develop your own voice and things like that, but you're not going to develop that if you don't, go through the hard stuff.
I don't know if training would have been beneficial to me either to do it, because then I'd be doing something somebody else told me to do instead of finding my own path. And
Well, my thing was like in college, I never had a problem keeping my mouth shut. When I was a little kid, they didn't know I had real bad hearing until I was in kindergarten. So as soon as I got my ears fixed, my parents probably regretted it because all I did wouldn't shut up.
Yeah.
But like when I got into college, it was a lot of mass communications, a lot of impromptu public speaking, and that's probably one of the best classes I ever took in college. It's helped out in many ways, leading into law enforcement, learning how to talk to people on a traffic stop or whatever it was. So it sort of comes full circle in that regard as well.
Sure.
Explore the methods and recipes for cooking meat in restaurants across America as we showcase experts on location in their restaurant kitchens to educate, inspire, and entertain. Tune into our travel cooking show, Meet America, only on YouTube and redmeatlover.com.
You said it took you a while, and I recently heard Gary Vee talk about patience and how it's really a key component to success. He says, I'm tired of hearing from 24-year-olds who tell me that they're going to be a millionaire by the age of 30. So I also looked through your channel. Your first million-view video didn't happen for over 3 years from the initial launch. It was, in case you don't remember, competition ribs, and then you followed it right back up with another million-view video of competition brisket, okay? But I want to ask you guys, when did you really begin to have that first feeling like, we're on the right track here? This could really be something bigger than we imagined. I know you mentioned 200 people reading the newsletter,
Yeah. I don't know if we ever did. It still feels like it's not real. It's like, for real.
I told him, this weekend, I was like, the million, I don't feel like we deserve it.
We kept waiting for the grown-ups to show up and take it from us. It's like I don't know. It's not real, guys, to us. It's because we enjoy doing it, and I think that's what the main thing is. And it's that, it's, everyday life, we live and breathe barbecue and the things we do and making videos and, the posts we make and the business side of it. It's all just part of our life now. And so it's second nature, but it doesn't feel, it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like so. I don't know where it really hit. Was there a moment for you that did?
I always believed from the beginning.
Yeah, Shell's the dreamer. I'm the realist guy. I'm always looking for, man.
You gotta have that though. I would compare that to me and Chris in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right now, me and Chris have been on the same wavelength for a good, I'd say, 3.5 years. But before that, we had different ideas of what we were doing.
Yeah.
But in the same regard, we're doing what we love, and I think people gravitate to that. And that's probably why I would agree with why your success is where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rachelle, I just got goosebumps when you said, I've always believed. And I think that is such a powerful mindset to be in as a business owner, right?
You have to believe.
Hope is not a strategy. I understand that, right? But a couple rungs above hope is faith. And that's where, again, to use your words, I always believe that if we keep putting one foot in front of the other, the faith that it will eventually pay off. And I know, Mike, you and I have talked about, you've used the term slopping through the mud. And I think that that's just a key element of success. Failure can be a real but it's a great teacher.
You're just simply not going to grow without knowing what it takes to get there. And without slopping or crawling through the mud, how are you going to know how to react to it next time you get kicked in the nuts? So I guarantee you guys have seen a lot of ups and downs, especially in the earlier years.
Definitely.
It's a struggle. I mean, you know, when you're trying to do what we were doing and raise a child, I mean, it was a big struggle. But and we had our failures. I mean, there's been times where we've lost loads of freight, and you take a $10,000 hit on something that you don't, you know, you really needed that money or something like that. I mean, it's, you know, there's been some bad times, but it's all lessons learned, you know.
I'm glad we didn't have like some type of overnight success, because we wouldn't have learned anything.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad that we had to struggle and had to learn everything, because now we know this business backwards and forward. We know every aspect of it, you know, from the competition to the rub to the videos, you know, we know everything. And it was like sweat equity. We didn't have any other choice.
Well, I think the other thing too is, I mean, we talked about this earlier, is you've diversified yourself, just like me and Chris are doing with Code 3. And when you start diversifying yourself, that's when I think the ball really starts snowballing, you know. And I would say probably 3 years ago is whenever it really hit for Chris and I. But I wanted to sort of back up on what she was saying, like, you know, you always believe this, that, and the other. I feel like I've always had that from day one, because this is our baby, just like that's your baby. You have nothing else. That from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, it's how to barbecue right and kill our hogs, and that's it.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
That it is.
This year, we took a trip to Jamaica. We left the kid at home, just us two, and I did not take my computer. And that was the first vacation that I didn't take my computer. Because
10 years.
Yeah, since we started, because I was always customer service, and you know, I was always making sure everything was rolling, even when we were on a vacation, you know.
I need to take some of that advice and get a couple days in a row without my phone and whatnot, but I have that fear of missing something, or you know what you're saying. I think it becomes an addiction as well.
Oh yeah, it does. Definitely.
You know,
definitely.
So, you know, Malcolm, we talked in our last podcast about launching the spice rubs. You said that there was a period of time, you know, when you got laid off. And you know, what's the mindset there? Is it really just the belief that this is what keeps you going even when it's tough?
It was the fact that we had to, you know. It was, I mean, well,
didn't have a choice.
Didn't have a choice, and I knew we already had a following, so we, you know, at that time I was already doing the newsletter. We thought we had a following, so I was sure that, you know, we could make it work. I was confident. I was going to go to the stores. I was going to give out samples of my stuff, and I was going to, you know, push it hard as we could. And so that was the mindset. The mindset was just, we're not going to fail. We're not going to fail.
And we took a lot of advice from Mark Lambert.
Yeah, we had some buddies that were doing stuff like we were doing at the time. I mean, Mark had already had his seasonings bottled, and we knew some other people that had. And that was kind of, you know, helped get us going by them putting us in touch with the co-packers they were using at the time. And so we had, barbecue's a great thing, because we've talked about how it's such a close network of friends and family that people will help you out. I mean, there's advice out there if you need to do it, and that's, I mean, we try to do the same thing for people. People have questions, we try to give them, you know, our honest take on it. But that's, I mean, that was beneficial to us a lot of times, because it was encouraging for, you know, people say, yeah, you can do it. I mean, I'm doing it, you know. So we just took it and ran and didn't stop.
And so, you know, you said about the vacation, putting away the computer. There's a lot of stuff that Malcolm's the guy in front of the screen. He's the one who everyone sees. But can you share with us, like, what are some of the aspects of the business that people don't see or that don't even know exist that you're handling?
Yeah. Everything.
Every man. Well, from, I mean, thousands of questions a day. That's, I mean, so we run, you know, we do a lot of pretty good orders. Our business is kind of twofold. It's wholesale, where we sell to other businesses that resell our stuff, and it's retail that we have through our website. And so you deal with the regular customer service questions on both of those, from orders being lost to, you know, it could be anything. It could be this product tastes like fish or something. What was it? It was something crazy.
That guy was weird.
but that's just one aspect. So customer service is one aspect of it, but you've got ordering, invoicing,
inventory, reporting, you know.
Just daily stuff.
One thing, if you think you're going to get rich off YouTube, it just doesn't.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. People think that you have 1 million subscribers, you must be making millions of dollars on YouTube, and that's just not true. You've got to find a way to supplement that.
And so we did it by building an online retail store. So not only do we sell our products, we sell a lot of other products just like you guys do in a physical store. And so we manage all those accounts.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with, who you're going to buy from, what products you want to try, which ones aren't selling, which ones do we need to take out, or we strategize on how to, what new stuff that we want to bring to the market that would fit to our customer base. There's not enough hours in the day to do everything we need to do. I mean, I'm sure y'all feel the same way, Mike. There's always something you could do.
Well, I mean, that's sort of the challenging aspect of it is, okay, when do you make that next step? When you make that next hire? Who do you contact next to help you with this part of your business that really needs it to get to the next level?
Yeah.
But in the whole time, we are recording, coming up with recipes, filming a video, Rachelle's editing, we're prepping for a podcast, we're recording a podcast, we're getting that out, we're working on the next comp, whenever, it may be a week that we're going on competition, or maybe a class that we're putting on or traveling to. So you talk about juggling stuff. Our calendar stays pretty daggum full. I mean, we try to, Shell's really good at keeping me on task with the calendar.
He's the talent.
You're the brains. I'll concede.
Well,
That's the right answer, right?
Well, I listen to a channel on Sirius, a business school channel, and they are always hammering in that, success is no longer the domain of one individual. Success today is happening in teamwork. We see that right here. We see that with Mike and his partner, Chris, me and the wizard who's back there behind the cameras, making me look good all the time.
See, I'm more comfortable being back there.
So is he. So is he. And I was never really that comfortable being right here, and it just took some time. You talked about earlier customer feedback. Now, there is no quicker and more candid way to get customer feedback than YouTube comments.
Oh, wow.
I've heard a share of them myself, everything from who I look like to variations. I've gotten variations on the same post that the steak is both undercooked, not the temperature I said, and well done. So I have thick skin. It doesn't bother me. How do you guys handle it, the comments and reading those? I know Rogan says don't read them, but how do you guys handle it?
That's my philosophy. Don't read them.
Yeah. I usually look at them at the very first when we launch, because those are people that are probably giving you genuine stuff. And then you start getting all the haters. And we don't delete. We never have. We've got our kind of philosophies. If it's a like or dislike or a positive or a negative comment, it's still a view. Mm-hmm. So it's still getting counted in the mix. Mm-hmm. And so we don't really delete them unless they're inappropriate. We'll take inappropriate comments if somebody's trying to, blatantly offend somebody. The offensive stuff.
Once you get so many videos too, it's hard to police it. It's hard to look at all these comments.
Well, what I have learned over the years are people that support us are quick to jump on those people and we don't have to say anything, because they will run them off the channel. I mean, they don't, people just like our stuff so much that you've got some people that are dedicated to what we're doing and they believe in it. And so that makes us feel good too. And you got people that'll take up,
Well, you talk about that. I mean, You guys have built obviously something very special, but you talk about that, and we see that a lot in our business with what we do behind the scenes a lot of times. Yeah. It's the loyalty factor.
Right.
That's all it comes down to. You've got people spending their time away from their family or kids to watch your channel. You've got people spending their hard-earned money on the products that you bring to market, and then they support you through thick and thin.
Yeah.
That's one of the, that's, I think, why we've reached a certain level of success. It's because of the people supporting us, bottom line. So I'm sure you see it every day.
Yeah, and we're incredibly grateful for that. That's one of my big things is first thing you wake up, think about what you're grateful for, because I don't think you're going to get anything more unless you're grateful for what you have today. So we try to always think about what we're grateful for, and we're very, very grateful that people want to watch videos.
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, is that I'm in a number of different groups on Facebook, and when some newbie or or anyone there is there asking questions, your name, how to barbecue right, is always referenced. Number one, it's in every single comment. Do you ever really take the time to think about like the impact you're having on the world? And
We stay too busy.
That part's not real to us, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been times where I've been places and people recognize us and take, and I always stop, and I'm more thankful for them for watching videos than they are for meeting me, you know.
And they don't understand it. They don't understand it. We were talking about that last night at dinner. You know, it's the loyalty factor, and it makes you want to get up the next day and be better at your job and
People
do
count on
better.
it. I mean, we get to a point where I feel like people count on us to be ourselves and to put out good stuff, and they really like our content. I mean, you don't how many times somebody's told me that, man, I was in a bad place, but I'm watching your videos, and now you got me, wanting to go out and cook, and I'm actually feeling better. Like it's therapy to some people. I never would have thought that.
It really is. I mean, that was part of my story getting into Code 3 was just cooking and firing up the grill and getting away from all the I was dealing with. And till this day, if I don't have a lot of downtime, but sometimes at night I got my own ways to unwind, and I'll watch your channel. I'll watch all my buddies' channels just to see what they're doing. And it's you're talking about the gratitude aspect of it. Without gratitude, why even do it?
Yeah, that's right.
Right? I mean, we're already in a great community as far as the industry goes, and it's really reciprocal and within our industry, if you will. But when it comes down to gratitude, look at what we get to do for a living. Not many people can say that. I wake up every day and I just go about my day. I don't think, oh man, I got to clock in. I got to, I just show up and do what we got to do to get things done.
And I mean, when it comes down to it, I get to cook delicious food and share that recipe with other people. I don't think you can get anything better.
And that's the value you're providing.
It really is. It's amazing, and I love doing it. You can look at me. Do I look like I like it?
We should have a layoff.
When you were talking about YouTube comments, I think the worst thing that they could say is he can't cook. He's not good at cook. They can call him everything in the book, but can you really say that he can't cook? That's
You're always going to have that, though.
Yeah.
Always.
My business partner is one of the best cooks in the country, and I'll post one of his pictures on Instagram, and we'll get the same feedback, and I'm just shaking my head like, these guys have no idea what they're doing. So it is what it is. I mean, you're going to have it, and, you're doing something right if you get a little bit of that, I think.
I think so, too. I mean, hey, people are watching.
Yeah.
I mean.
It's going to come.
And so with, Malcom's kind of presence online, his fame, I know my wife and I recently had a conversation where she asked me if any girls were hitting me up on my DMs, and I laughed because I had never actually considered that would be a thing. But after I thought about it for a day or two, I said, don't worry, I'm sure no one wants to slide in the DMs of the guy that has the meat website. But
you would be surprised.
So has that happened on your end? Can you share a story?
Maybe occasionally.
He's getting red.
I get more. I'll tell you, Shell's probably got a story. I know what she's going to tell. Go ahead.
There was one Memphis in May. A little girl kept coming by. She's cute, young, and just
husband was with her too.
Yeah, and she just would rub on him and get closer to him, and she's pretty drunk, and she thought she was whispering, but she said, "You're my celebrity crush." And Malcolm's face is just getting red because I'm sitting right there, He was getting very uncomfortable.
She was touchy-feely.
And I think it was so funny.
I would say I probably get more wives telling me that they're sick of hearing my voice when they're going to bed because their husband's laying there. Well, it's just like they go to bed every night listening to my voice.
As I've said, around my house, my cooking is the best marriage counselor I have. No matter what's going wrong that day or what could potentially go wrong in we talked about partnership and teamwork, but this is the ultimate marriage and business. But when those things are kind of sometimes hitting the fan, and there's a good meal there that the whole family can enjoy, I notice that really brings a really therapeutic element to everything that's happening.
Yeah. I mean, food does that, I think. I think it's kind of the thing that brings us all together that we have. You have to eat to live, and it's kind of sustenance. I don't know. It's sure a lot of fun cooking and sharing it.
I got a question. So, what's your son think about all this? Because me and Chris see it from our kids' point of views. Because sort of the popularity and growth and whatnot, and.
He don't, I guess he looks at it just as I'm his dad that cooks barbecue.
Yeah.
I mean, he stays on YouTube all the time, but he tells me, well, I tell you, oh yeah, I'm fixing to get 1 million views. Well, so-and-so on this video game channel has got 10 million. So I can never be the video game
And
guy.
it's somebody playing a video game, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, to him, it's not.
We've been doing this since he was
That's
born.
all he's known. That's all he's known. It's
He
second
had to
nature
help
to
us
him. Yeah.
unload, pallets of rub, and
I remember, when he could barely pick up a case. We had him in the back of the truck. He was the guy that passed them to us.
And those are great memories to associate with.
He grew up in our garage while we were packing orders and shipping them out.
And the neat thing is he gets to see it. It just doesn't have to be a story that he hears about on television. He has seen mom and dad put foot in front of foot for 10 years now, working and growing it. And there's no replacement for that type of lesson.
Yeah. I hope he gets something from it.
Well, I look at it this way, and this is actually part of me and Chris's core values and goals and whatnot. Is everything we try to do is we try to make it legacy based.
Yeah.
So whatever we're doing, if we have to stop doing this 3 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever it is, what legacy have we left for the people around us? And we touched on a little bit in a conversation last night, and that's exactly what you guys are doing. We got people coming into our shop, Joe, every day buying our product, and it's just you're part of their family now. It's really a special thing, and that's the legacy that you guys are leaving.
And as we get more successful, we also want to help other people too. We've been very fortunate and very blessed, and I think that it's our responsibility to
help give back and help others come up. I mean, because I think there's people behind us. I mean, whether it's your kids or other young barbecuers or whoever's getting into it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we've learned that we feel we can pass down, and that's what we try to do.
Well, and we talked about this as well last night, Joe, at dinner, was humility and being humble. Like I said, there's not many people out there that get to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we don't look at this as a job. How many people go to work every day and think, forget this, man. I do not want to drive 40 minutes to my office in that cubicle every day. Some people love it, and good for them. That's fantastic. But a lot of people don't. We get to do this every single day and not really take any days off. But it is that legacy factor. I think is the humility comes into play because it can be taken away just like that.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
There's gonna be another
platform
YouTube,
or whatever coming. Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable.
There's going to be somebody that
barbecue probably won't. It'll probably lose popularity one of these days. But who knows when it'll happen? I mean, we're just you got to be grateful for what you have and do what you can while you have it.
Yep.
I think.
You talk about people who are going to their jobs and maybe don't necessarily enjoy them. I actually think it's a fairly large portion of the population. I think what shows up there for people in their work, where dissatisfaction shows up, is a lack of creativity, lack of being able to kind of express your ideas in a way that you think is the very best. I mean, I was an employee for a while. Mike, I know you were law enforcement. You two were both employed, and going to your boss with that killer idea that they just squash because they don't understand it. And so I think there's so much opportunity as a business owner to be able to express that creativity. On humility, I want to share a story about Malcom. My first interaction when I met you was at your event, Code 3, Smoking on Main. It's a big event that you put on here in downtown Collinsville over the course of a weekend, and I came over to just kind of get some footage. It was really my first foray out of the kitchen, kind of leading in a weird way. I didn't know it would lead us to this table today, but Mike let me know that you were going to be there, and I said, well, that's great. I'd love to have a few words with him. So Mike comes pulling up on the golf cart, and there you are. And I had never interviewed anyone in my entire life. Here I am interviewing you, and I'm essentially no one at this point in time. But you spent the time to get on camera, do the interview. And I just want to take the opportunity to just say thank you. Talk about humility. That made a big, I was able to say, hey, I got Malcom Reed. And then I followed up a couple days later, and I sent you both an email. And Rachelle, I know you get hundreds of them a day. You responded within an hour, just kind of thanking me for the contact, to let me know that I was heard there. And so I just really want to acknowledge you both in doing that. And to your point, the humility.
Yeah. Well, and that's another character trait of our industry. There's not many in our industry.
You're right.
There's really not. And guess what? The ones that are still in the game doing it, everybody knows who the that is. And we knew about social distancing that way before this COVID crap. But there's just too many good people in our industry with those character traits. I love it.
I think it is too. I think people realize, I mean, barbecue is just it's such a, you meet some of the best people in the world around barbecue. And I learned that back from my early days of being in competition. That was why I was drawn to it so much. Everybody you meet is fantastic. And there's going to be some bad apples, but for the majority of folks, they will do anything for you.
Who was someone in our industry along your guys' journey that sort of patted you on the back and said, you know, maybe try this, or maybe, you know, if you need anything, I'm here to help you?
I mean, first person comes to my mind is Mike Mills. He's always been a good, Mike and Mr. Pat, man, those two guys right there, I always think to them, you know, whenever I think of somebody to look up to in the barbecue, you know.
Well, those guys paved the way.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you talk about MBBQA, and we were sort of talking about that earlier, how, you know, things come and go and there's twists and turns and everything, but you know, Dave Raymond, Sweet Baby Ray, he's been mine.
Dave's fantastic. Dave's one of the best guys out there, man.
Outside of barbecue, he's one of the best guys out there. He's just an incredible human being. You know, and for somebody that's reached that level of success that wants to take the time, well, in my case, a whole weekend or a few days, just to hang out, go eat places and talk business, you know, it means a lot. And when I heard you say earlier, you know, you want to bring people with us, whenever me and Joey and Chris and Bear, who's off camera right now, started talking, is the whole goal is to bring everybody with you. You have to. You're going to reach a much higher level of success if you bring other people with you to acquire their own success within your success growth. You know, and that was one thing that I'm forever grateful for. I include Dave in my prayers every night. Yeah. You know, I mean, he's that special to me. So, you know, there's always that one mentor, you know, and Joe, I'm sure you've had some as well.
A lot, you know, and as you talk, you know, I think about some of the great philosophers throughout time. You know, Freud basically said, man lives for pleasure, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And certainly if you take a look around, you're going to see some people out there that live like that. Nietzsche said, man lives for power. Again, when we take a look around, you see that out there. There's a famous philosopher, Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor and well-known psychologist, who really said that the essence of what we do is about the meaning we create for others. And that's one of the things that really draws me to what I do at Red Meat Lover, that, you know, we all got to eat. We all need food. And if you can, as you have done, take and make that impact on, you know, something small. There's a saying out there, the best part of a good man's life are his little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and love. And I don't think that statement goes to discount the big acts, but the little acts. You know, I got this recipe. They're making a better meal for their family. They're sharing that. And that's what really inspires me about what we do at Red Meat Lover and what we're doing here today. You know, yeah. And why I want to share your story and help you guys get that out there, because I know that there's someone listening right now that has an idea in their heart or their mind, but they're too afraid to put themselves on camera. They're too afraid to take that first step. And I think it's just, I'm a cheerleader for people and for businesses, and I absolutely love to see, you know, others succeeding. But we know that there's some people, you know, in our comments section and others that want to try to bring us back.
You're going to have that. When you guys hit the road after this podcast, we've got Mike Johnson and Christina Fitzgerald coming on from Sugar Fire Smokehouse. And Mike's, I think he's about our age. But you want to talk about the epitome of humility and being humble and failures. That's the guy, you know, and here he is. I really think he's one of the most awesome dudes in the world to begin with. But he's also one of those guys that never gave up and never failed as well, you know?
Yeah, you know, we like to think we don't have failures, we have minor setbacks, but
Or lessons.
or lessons, yeah. Right. Some of them are expensive lessons, but they're lessons.
Right. I prefer the other F word, feedback, right? Yeah, feedback. You figure out what does work or doesn't work, and if you're a smart business owner, you're going to be humble and look at it and say, look, it didn't work. And there's an old saying, if it's meant to be, it's up to me, right? It's that hard look in the mirror saying, all right, what can I do different? Not kind of pointing the finger, you know, hey, that shipment got lost. You needed that money, but you can sit there and you can focus on your energy on that, or you can focus on moving forward.
Yep.
You know?
Definitely.
We had an issue a couple weeks ago where we ordered the wrong pickles. We ordered a different type of pickles. Well, it ended up being a good thing because we ended up adding that, that type of pickle to the website. So you can also turn negatives into positives. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got a company that contacted me about trying out doing a review on some rice maker. My wife wanted the rice maker, but when I responded, I didn't do a great job of clarifying that, and so we got a juicer sent to us. So I juiced a prime steak and just took it. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. But we were able to juice some pineapple and use it in a marinade, and find that silver lining.
That's awesome.
I want to ask you guys, as you were kind of going through your process of growing the business, you both had other careers. When did you say, hey, now's the right time to really devote all our energy? Was it?
When I got laid off for the second time, second company during the construction crisis or whatever, when the economy got bad back in, I guess, late 2000s or around 2008, wasn't it, I guess?
Well, let's talk about that real quick. So we heard what you did on your side before of all this. What exactly did you do?
So I worked for an architect firm, and I was basically an intern architect.
Okay.
Doing commercial construction, and we did big buildings. And I worked for a company called Renaissance Group Architects, and I was the low man. Because my brother had been working there for a while, and I ended up getting a job there and worked for, 4 or 5 years with them. And when the economy turned, their business, it took it a minute, but commercial construction kind of shut off. Mm-hmm. And so they had to start letting the lower guys go, and I was one of the first ones. And so I caught on with another outfit downtown in Memphis, and we were doing big hospitals like St. Jude and Le Bonheur, the outside curtain walls, and designing all the glass and metal systems that hold all that structure up. And once we finished a few jobs down there, the big commercial jobs really started getting, they were a couple years behind the recession. And when that caught up, nobody had any work. And so a lot of businesses shut down. It's going to be a lot similar to what we're going to see here with this COVID crisis, I'm afraid of. But that was, after going through 2 layoffs of doing, a job, I was happy doing that. I like doing construction work and design and making drawings and all that. But I just had enough, and I said, if this barbecue thing's going to work, or I don't know what I'm going to do.
We had.
I knew I didn't want to go back and work in a cubicle in an office. I wanted to do something for myself, because if I was going to, if you're going to work all this hard and go to school and do all this stuff, and just to get it ripped out from under you, you might as well be doing it for yourself. Is the way I looked at it. And so,
you got a severance, and we had just gotten our tax return, and so we figured out we had enough money. This is like April. Yeah. March, April. We had enough money to last till October, November.
It was almost 6 months.
Yeah, it was something like that.
And we bought a first order rub with it.
Yeah. And we were like, we're going to work as hard as we can until October, November, and then we might have to, because I was still working freelance. I was still working freelance for self-help gurus mostly. And
I remember when you quit though, and you called me.
I'd gotten fed up, and I quit, and I said, I
don't know how we're going to make it.
What are we going to do?
What are we going to do? Both of us lost our job.
Because you're being forced to survive.
Yeah, and that's what it was.
Yeah, I have a friend who says being comfortable is the worst place to be, because you don't want to take new risk, you don't want to try new things, you don't want to give up what you already have, or risk giving up what you already have.
When we started, we only had one product. We had that one rub. There was no others. Those didn't come till years. Yeah. We just we would sell a 1-pack, a 3-pack, or a 6-pack. It was just variations of that same one. And that's all we had. And so and then we sold the bulk bag.
Yeah. What are some of the things that, because Chris and I, we have a list a mile long of things we want to do. We shared some of those things with you last night. What are some of the things that you guys, if you can share them with, what are some of the things that you want to do throughout the rest of this journey that you're building? Or, we're both writing our stories.
Yeah.
What other pages or chapters are you guys wanting to add to your book?
Well, I know we are definitely working on a book. We've recently hired a literary agent, and we've got a couple deals in the works. But we want to go into more of production and using what we've learned to help people produce their shows, or to create their YouTube content, and so we've got to form a film crew, basically an editing department. All these things are what we want to lead to, because it's stuff that we know. We just want to get people that we can train and put in place to do things that we want to, and then we can help other people come up through there.
Right.
And so that's where our goals are for the future.
Yeah.
More we're definitely going to keep creating newer content, different styles of content, expand our podcast and keep growing it. And what are some other? We sit down every year and write down goals for the year.
And that's
We've
smart
been doing
to do.
that. We've been doing that for a while.
Listen, I tell you what, there's probably data out there that shows if you take one side that writes benchmarks down, and then one side that doesn't, I guarantee the people writing stuff down on papers are ones reaching those goals.
Yeah. We've noticed. We don't check them all off every year, but some of them are high aspirations.
Oh,
but
it's been on the
it's
list
been on the
for-
list for 5 years. Yeah. But but we just if we don't get it one year, we move it to the next.
And that's the other
1
thing.
million subscribers on YouTube has been on there for a long time. We're going to check that one off this year.
And
that's a
it's
big
incredible.
milestone.
I mean, patience is a big thing, right?
Yeah.
I think it goes with any business or any endeavor that anybody wants to go in with somebody else on or whatever it is. That was probably my biggest flaw in business in the beginning was patience. I had some extenuated circumstances, like everybody else does, but now it's at a point where with me and Chris always being on the same page, we know that, okay, we want to start working on this. Well, let's not beat ourselves to death over it every day. Let's just take our time with it, do it right, and everything else will sort of be fluid and fill itself out, and everything will, come together.
Yeah, we feel the same way. I mean, it will over time. You can't jump in and expect it to happen overnight. I mean, it's definitely a slow game, and that's something that Rachelle's really taught me, because I'm the same way. I think, man, let's make this happen right now.
Right.
But she's like,
I
no,
drive-
we've got
I
to.
drive
We do the
Chris
things.
batshit crazy.
We do the things we do because she said. I mean, it works, and it's the we don't rush into any decision we make. It's always.
He's really good at coming up with the idea. Like, he develops like a product. He'll come up with the idea of a product and work on the recipe and things like that. And then he'll just kind of stall it out. He's really good at getting it started, and I'm really good at making sure we get it finished.
Driving it through. And it takes that. I mean, because I've got an idea hit me for something, and I'll work on it, and I'll get it going, and then I've already got another idea for the next thing.
Right.
And so my brain works like that. Mm-hmm. And hers, it's like see it all the way through.
Yeah,
So
but I probably wouldn't have
got there.
I don't get things started.
It goes back to the whole teamwork thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing or where we're at without Chris doing what he does. I mean, I can't do 99% of the stuff he does.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And I don't want to do it, to be honest with you. I mean, are you in that same boat?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know anything about editing videos or filming videos or any of that stuff. I wouldn't have a clue where to start. I mean, I can, open up iMovie and move some stuff around, but that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
It would look like crap.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure our kids
and
can do better than
and as far as now, there's some stuff she does that I probably could do. I definitely don't want to. I mean, all the invoicing and checking POs and all that crap. I hate paperwork like that. I mean,
Let's
it's got to be done. It's got to be
talk about
done.
that real quick, because Chris just left the room, so I can say whatever the hell I want. People, Joe, you've been over our place before while we're in the thick of doing our daily grind. People really have zero idea what goes on in just one single day in the life of how to barbecue right in Code 3 Spices. I'm telling you, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, there is.
A lot.
Well, and the one area where you've been inspirational to me is I know you have a large social media following, you have the orders coming in, and yet even from the first moment we initially connected, you're incredibly responsive, and I think that is just such a, to use the analogy, the horse that wins a race by a nose, often wins 3 to 5 times prize than the second place horse does, but the reality is they're not 3 to 5 times better. They're the nose better that pays the big differences. And so that's where you've inspired me, is that when I'm getting those messages, try to get right back to them as soon as possible, because then they build up. You take delayed responses, and then what is the other, in the vacuum of information, people's minds just go to the worst place. They don't care. That's what they're going to say. God took 3 days, 5 days to respond. Well, they must not care.
Yeah.
Well, I've been very blessed with the mindset of gratitude at an early age. I'm grateful these people are sending me DMs. I'm grateful they're commenting. like I said, they're taking time out of their day, whether it's a silly question or a very serious one. You know, you always get that, oh, I can't believe that they responded, or I can't believe Malcom responded, or somebody calls the shop and Chris answers, oh, I can't believe I just talked to Chris from Code 3, whatever it is. You know, it goes back to being very humble and being very thankful and grateful for what we have. We're normal people just like everybody else, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, you know, we all go to sleep same way. And I don't know, it's I take a lot of pride into being very responsive, whether it's an email or returning a phone call, or especially social media, because I'm on social media, dude, from the time I get up till the time I go to bed. It's nonstop, it's never ending. I give myself some breaks throughout the day, but you know, when you got all these people supporting you, it's really the only right thing to do is to respond and thank them, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Rachelle handles our customer service, and it's critical. I mean, you've always had that
If
policy
someone sends
where,
an email, they
it's
deserve
getting
a
it.
response.
Yeah, that's,
you know,
and,
that's.
you know,
I don't care what they say.
I mean, we
I don't
depend
care
on
if it's
every sale, so
negative
we can't afford for somebody not to go unhappy with
Well,
something.
and guess what? If you don't respond, they're going to go on Code 3's website if they've never heard of us, and they're going to buy our stuff. So you just lost out on a sale.
Right, exactly.
You know, so it's very reciprocal in that fashion as well.
And we've learned you're not going to please everybody. No. It's just not possible. But you can always respond and give them a fair response, and
and try to turn their negative
into a positive.
Experience.
We try our best to. I mean, we do really well. We have a lot of repeat customers because people appreciate that level of customer service, and you don't get it everywhere you go these days.
Yeah,
there's some people customer service goes by the wayside, and I think it's very important to a small company like ours, or like y'all. I mean, it's everything. Our customers are everything.
Right.
You know, we wouldn't have we wouldn't be able to keep the lights on if it wasn't for them.
That's the thing. And, you know, the word of mouth. We had a guy call the shop the other day, and he had an issue with an order. I sent Chris a text or a message, and I said, hey, this is what's going on with this. And I immediately responded, and the guy was so grateful. He's like, I tell you what, he goes, I'm going to hop on here real quick, and I'm going to send my brother in California some of your stuff. You know, so it's just that it comes back to the customer service, the customer experience, you know, and the thing is, it helps that we have good products as well, you know, so that's the other fashion of it too. You can have a great product. Well, if you have lousy customer service, they might not buy your product again because you're to them.
And they're going to tell, I don't know what study shows, like 13 or 14 of their friends or something like that they had bad service. And that can hurt you worse than anything. So.
I've always thought, like, what's going to set us apart? You know, what's going to allow someone to order from us and pay for shipping when they could go get a rub at the grocery store? So customer service has always been, well, at least we can provide them with the absolute best customer service possible. You know,
that's true. Because there's plenty of places out there and plenty of good rubs out there.
Oh, there's
besides
a lot
our
of them.
stuff.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been through Disney's, been very fortunate to have gone through Disney's training, and they have, you know, at Disney World, they have 75,000 employees on site, and to be able to deliver a consistent, that's the key, high quality level of customer service is, you know, you guys have a boy, you pay the 10 grand to go to Disney and do an experience, all that, and someone tells you the wrong train and you lose an hour of your day, that's something you're gonna tell people about, you know, that's gonna have a big impact. And I think when we look back at our experiences on companies, it's kind of like, I guess I look at it like a red light, green light situation. So you go to the restaurant, right, and the waiter doesn't ask you what you want to drink for 10 minutes, so that's an automatic red kind of light on the scale. But if everything else turns out green, over time you look back and you just remember it was a good experience overall. And so I kind of think that's the key. And also acknowledging where, if you have made mistakes, you know, just being honest, saying you're sorry about that, and being authentic about that.
Agreed. What else you got on the books for today, buddy?
Well, I was kind of curious, you know, to ask Malcom and Rachelle, since you're such a great cook, and are there family meals that go on, or does he handle it all?
No. We both
I'm
cook.
a good cook.
It's probably
we have cook-offs.
Yeah.
To see who can do the best.
No, it's probably 50-50, man. I'd put Rachelle up against the
Whatever.
best of them.
You
I
always,
mean, I taught her everything she knows, but she's well trained.
Well, she's been watching and editing all those
Yeah,
videos.
she's got to know.
Yeah, you owe her a lot.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
She's gotten rid of the parts that you messed up on.
I know it's a good one when she comes in there and tells me, man, I could go for some brisket right now, or whatever, whatever she's editing that day. If she's watching, I thought that's going to be a good video.
Yeah, if I go back into the fridge and see if we have leftovers.
Yeah.
How long do you think you guys are going to ride this out? How far do you want to take this?
Man, I don't know. I got 20 more years than me at least.
Right. Right.
I'll be 45 this year, so I can see going up 65. I mean, I don't know. We don't. To us, it's not this is just what we do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we enjoy it, and we think. I mean, it feels like we just started.
Right.
We're still in the infancy. We've got so much to learn and so far to go.
That's an incredible thing to hear.
It really is. It's just we look at it as it's a ladder, and we're still going up.
Well, you guys.
I don't know if there is a top.
I know you guys well enough where we share a lot of commonalities. I mean, you guys are very goal oriented, and you guys take a lot of pride in the name Killer Hogs and how to barbecue right. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's you guys, right? So that's your reputation and that's your charisma towards the people that are following you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Would I sell it all if somebody offered me? I don't know, but I hadn't thought about that.
Zeros.
Yeah, there's zeros.
We can always sell.
There's always a price, but we would just do something else like this. I mean, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop trying to do something to help people out, and if I could, I'd probably get out of retail.
Yeah.
Because that's its own nightmare. But as far as putting out content and spreading the word and talking to folks and meeting people and teaching classes and all, I love it. The competition barbecue, I still love to compete. I mean, I don't get as serious about it now. I'm kind of back to the training mindset. I'm there to have a good time with my buddies now again. I'm not a points chaser, but
you and your brother, that's the time y'all spend together.
it is. Yeah, it's kind of family bonding time, I guess, because I don't get to see my brother a whole lot. Yeah, my son goes, so it's, there's a lot of old guys doing barbecue. Like, me and you, we're not the old guys in barbecue by any means.
Not anymore. I mean, my business partner. You 43 yet over there? Yeah, you 43 yet? You don't know? He forgets.
Yeah.
I think he's 43. I'm 42.
Yeah. So I got y'all about a few years.
Couple years. But let's tell people where they can find you.
Sure.
And before you go into that, I'm sure Joe's got a closing, but I know that we're working on getting you back on here. I think we're going to be coming down to your neck of the woods and do some cool stuff.
Yeah, man, I'd love to, man. We'll have to do like some kind of collaboration or something.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
Do something on how to barbecue right, and we can do something on y'all. So
we can do that.
Check out our new building we've just working on that we bought.
Touch on that real quick.
So we bought. We don't know what we're calling it yet. We've been calling it the mothership because it's going to be the headquarters of everything. But it's so we were in a smaller building. It was mainly just offices. And you've seen our podcast. We've got a little podcast studio. Well, we've kind of outgrown it. And we've added some more employees, so we needed some more office space. And we also found a building that had some warehouse. It's probably 25% warehouse. It's got a big conference area that we're going to use for classes. There's a place up front. We're going to create some retail, so it's going to be kind of like a gift shop / man store. Come get a gift for your husband or your wife, or not your wife. It's not going to really build. I guess it could be if women was if they're into rubs and sauces and stuff. But and so it's got office space and all that. So we're really.
That's exciting.
It's just it's we're trying to. Always be growing, man, and looking for the next thing. And so we're going to be building a new podcast studio in there. I'm going to have 2 other sets in there. We've actually got a kitchen space that I'm going to kind of build out and make it kind of a demonstration style. It's not going to be a real commercial kitchen. I want it to feel like you're in a nice kitchen in a house, but it's also set up for me to film there. Right. So I can bring some grills up to the shop and wheel them out and do some cooking. So kind of change some things up, or if I have somebody come in, we can use that set.
Well, I think the new compound should be called Killer Hogs HQ. I mean, it's really simple. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, and you mentioned you don't know how you can get a gift for the woman if she's interested in rubs. Well, I know a lot of women who are interested mostly in back rubs and foot rubs and things of that nature, But I just want to, acknowledge you both for your success, not like an accident, but for years of hard work, dedication, continued effort. It's really, truly inspirational. And I know there are people out there listening who are going to hear this story and be inspired by not just you, but what you, Mike, and Chris have done over there at Code 3 Spices as well.
Well, and that's the thing for everybody listening at home or watching. You know, Chris and I get to meet some of the coolest people in the world when it comes to, and I'm talking outside of barbecue and cooking. We get to meet some cool people just because of what we do. And I mean this as sincere as I can be. I really think that you two are at the top of the food chain when it comes to our industry. Well, you know, it comes back to why we love you is because you're a humble group, and we're just grateful for your friendship. You know, you taking the time to come up here from your neck of the woods, and every time we get together, we have fun.
We love Collinsville, man. I can't wait to come back. So
we're gonna do it again.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on our show today. This is just a ton of fun, man. A ton of fun. For everyone listening at home, I just want to take a moment to thank our sponsors who help make this show possible, with Grill Grate at grillgrate.com, Rockwood Charcoal at rockwoodcharcoal.com, and Arden Spirits. Again, we're here filming at Old Herald Distillery here in Collinsville. Thanks for checking out our show, and continue to follow along as we meet America.
Subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel at redmeatlover.com and learn more at meetamericapodcast.com.